ease up a little bit, Spoelstra. Just take it easy. Those people, and Amal, I know this is a quibble of yours, people asking dumb questions. We don't have full context because she did preface it by saying, hey, maybe I'm oversimplifying, but was the approach in game 2 to force Jokic into more of a scorer's role? It's actually a great question. It's a great question. Now, he didn't want to give anything. That's what he does. He plays coy. But it's a great question. That's exactly what they did. And they know if he's not orchestrating the offense, then they're not going to win a basketball game. And that's exactly what happened last night. I had no problem with the question, but I thought the answer was hilarious from Spoelstra.
I have no problem with the question either. The problems I have with the questions are sometimes, remember when Baylor got beat by Yale and the guy goes, how did Yale out-rebound Baylor? Those types of things. I thought this was actually a fair question, and statistically, she's correct. You laid out some of the numbers earlier with the Joker when he's got 8+ assists in Denver's record. I mentioned the 10+ assists and this team being under 500 in games in which he doesn't have 10+ assists. So I don't think her question was out of line. But the way Spo reacted, you would have thought the Miami Heat lost the game and they're down 2-0 and trying to figure out how to come back into this series.
Well, don't you think the reaction was exactly this? She nailed it, and he was pissed.
That's fair, yeah.
Malone knows what Spoelstra was doing. Those inside basketball circles know what Spoelstra was doing. What Spoelstra didn't want was it to be part of the zeitgeist today. And by Ramona Shelburne asking that question, everybody's now focused game 3. Will Jokic be handled the same way? Because if Jokic is handled the same way, Miami can win a basketball game. Spoelstra preferred it stay low key. So I understand his frustration, but I just want to, that's exactly what was happening there. And I found it fascinating. Oh, by the way, they won the game by 3 points, and they did something, they shot 68.8 in the fourth. Okay, let me just contextualize this. The Miami Heat outscored the Denver Nuggets 36-25 in the fourth quarter. They almost shot 70%. And that's inside, that's outside. They were incredible. That's the third highest shooting percentage in a fourth quarter game in the postseason in the last 25 years. Third highest. So again, won by 3, had an all-time fourth quarter, couldn't miss a three-pointer, and they're headed back to Miami. It's just, you know what it is now? It's a fascinating series. Because we needed that split. For content, we needed the split, and just for get us through June, we needed that split, and we got it.
You're absolutely right about that. And I'll tell you the other thing, though. To me, I would like to see more coaches in situations like that instead of – I didn't like the fact that he goes to the untrained eye. I said I wanted to be like – I would have responded with, sorry, professor. But to me, why not just sit there and say, look, it's a strategy question. I'm not going to answer it just simply based on that.
Because – and I think I can be – I think getting older and doing this job for so long, I think I can be like this at times where sometimes you're like, oh, I've been doing this for so long and I can talk down. No, Spoelstra now is feeling himself. He's got championships. He's been there for 15 years. People are calling him the greatest. If Spoelstra was asked that question by a very respected reporter, Ramona Shelburne, 10 years ago, he would have said, great question, and answered it like a gentleman. Last night, he was a jerk. And to your point, I think some of it's just like, you know what? He has equity. And when you get equity, regardless of your vocation, you start to go F you. And he basically, to your point, he said disrespectfully, you have an untrained eye. No, she doesn't. She doesn't. She's been covering the game forever.
I was getting ready to say the same thing, right? She's been covering the game for a long time. She's a very nice person in general, and she does a good job. And for him to come out with that type of attack, I didn't think it was necessary.
How about Spoelstra becoming the villain? Well, this is something I didn't know that we needed.
But here's the thing, and you brought this up, and you're absolutely right. There was just no reason for that statement, right? Everything else could have been said, and it would have been fine. We wouldn't even be talking about this, Patrick, if he didn't start with the untrained eye comment.
You're right. And the irony there is he was condescending about the question, and the question was so good it made him mad. That's the point. He said, you have an untrained eye. What he meant to say is, you have a very trained eye. That's exactly what we were trying to do on Jokic. What are you talking about here, Spo?
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.